Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pretty Pink Craft Room. We are back today to finish working on the Traveler's Notebook that we began in a previous video. And if you missed that video, we were working on the base cover, the elastics, and partially some of the inserted pages. So if you missed that, I will go ahead and link that video in the description if you'd like to see how we made a start of this album together, or this notebook together, I should say. So for today, we're going to try to finish working on it. I'm hoping we may be able to finish, and if not, we may have to go into a third video, but we will do our best to try to make sure we finish off as much as we can. So in the inside, we had put together a couple of signatures, and I'm just going to put the base to the side for right now. We're just going to work on the signature. So I have one of the signatures here, and these were the pages that we added inside. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pull in some other papers that I had set aside for using in this Traveler's Notebook, some other decorative papers that we could add that kind of match the color scheme. So I have these papers here, and as you can see, there's some areas for journaling here, and then this is just has the decoration on it. So I want to add that one. I want to add this one that again has even more areas for journaling there. So these two are the ones I want to add. Excuse me. Sorry. Must be my allergies. Then I have a coffee dyed piece of paper here, as well as a lined piece of paper. So let me just fold this lined piece of paper in half. And of course you can make the size of these papers what's best for you. I'm going to try to keep mine's at least a little bit similar if I can. So I know I only want this to be 4.5 wide, and I think it may be just a little bit bigger. Oh, no, it's perfect, 4.5. Okay. So I have these papers that I will go ahead and add into it. And of course, you know, you can decide how you want it to be assembled, where you want everything to be placed. I just try to, you know, go by ear, or however my instinct tells me that I want things to be inserted inside. So I'm just adding these papers in various locations. Okay. There we go. So we have our papers added in. Just trying to make sure everything is even and lined up together. So one thing I like to do also is I like to round my corners. I think it kind of gives a little more of a finished look to it too. I also round the corners on the inside here. I think kind of helps the elastic not wear and tear on the papers too quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and round all the corners for these pages, and then I will be back and we will continue in assembling our project. I've gone ahead and rounded all my corners for the papers that are going inside of this signature. And my idea for this video was to share with you several things that you could add into your Traveler's Notebook to make it a little more interactive, a little more special, things like that. So I'm not sure how many different ideas we'll get through during this video, but we will try to at least give you several ideas that could give you inspiration of how you want to make yours. So one thing I want to add is I like adding vellum to my signatures. I think it adds a little texture. It's a little fun to look at. It's a nice sound when you're flipping the vellum. I just think it's really cute. So I'm going to put this to the side for a moment. So I have this piece of vellum, and I got this vellum off of Temu. So if you are a Temu shopper, you can certainly check on there, and they have different styles and different designs of vellum that you might be interested in using in one of your projects as well. So I'm going to take this vellum. It's a little bit bigger than my signature, and I'm just going to make a folder pocket out of it, since I have so much of it, I can actually use some of it to make a folder pocket out of it. So I'm just going to score it in half at about 4 1/4. And I'm going to score it this way. I'm sorry, I'm going to make the top go up to the left here, and I'm going to score it at 5 3/4, since I know that's the height of my signature. Okay, so I just made a little T-square scoring mark on the vellum here, and I'm just going to fold it up, create pockets, because I don't want to lose any of that vellum design. I think it's really cute, and it kind of goes with the travel theme. It has London, has a day ticket, has all of that on there, so it just kind of goes with the idea of the paper pack that I'm using. And by the way, the paper pack that I am using is, actually I think I folded this on the wrong side, so let me fold it on the right side. The paper pack that I am using is some leftover papers called Bon Voyage, yeah, from Mente Papers, and I'm pretty sure that paper is still in stock, and you can locate that paper if you so choose. So I'm just folding this, creasing it down, making sure everything is even. So I've made this little folder pocket for myself, and I'm just going to cut a little bit off of the inside so that the fold of the pockets will be even. So you can see here I'm just making a slight angle cut. I'm not even measuring it. I'm just going eyeballing it. I just want to make sure that this folds up like so, and that it will fit into my journal and it won't have any resistance as I fold it. So that's one thing you can add into your notebook or your journal to make it even more special, is a piece of vellum. And I don't even really need to decorate this any further because it has such a cool design on it to begin with. I can just leave it as it is. So I can go ahead and insert this into my album where I want it to be, and I think I'm just going to have it be just right here. So that's an extra pocket. So that's one thing you can add into your notebook to make it even more special. The next thing you could add into your traveler's notebook are some doilies. Now, I have found doilies available in dollar stores, discount stores. I've seen them in many places. So you may have some in your stash that you can certainly add to your project too. So I have two here, the white and the pink, and I am just, since one is larger than the other, I'm just going to go ahead and glue them. I'm folding them in half first. I'm sorry. Folding them in half. I'm not scoring or anything. I'm just folding them. And then I'm going to glue the pink on the outside of the white and create this design here. So let me go ahead and add some glue using just my little glue stick here. And just going to add each side on here and flip it over and do the other side. I apologize for my sniffling and my coughing. I think I'm just having allergies. Perhaps from the weather it could have done that. So okay, so now we have this. So I'm going to pull back in my book and I'm going to go ahead and add this in the place where I think I may want it to reside, and it'll just go here. Move this paper out of the way. So it'll just go here in between these two pages, and it just adds a little bit of texture again to the traveler's notebook, a little bit of something interactive, something different, and of course we can decorate it even more so, even more from what we have here. We can add even more to it. So that's the second thing that I can recommend that you want to add to your traveler's notebook to make it even more special. The next idea I had for adding more direct decoration and more interactive elements to our signature was to create a flip out angle pocket. So I have a sheet here that measures 5 3/4 by 6, 5 3/4 by 6, and all I'm going to do is fold it in half. So now it becomes a 3 inch by 5 3/4. And I'm going to take one of my little flip out pages that we created when we first outlined the pages for our signature, and I am going to attach it to this outside like so. So I'm just going to add a little glue on each side and create a tall standing pocket there. So let me get out my glue, make sure I'm even, lining everything up, and I'm just going to add a little glue here. Secure that down, and then flip it over and do the exact same thing. And then I'll add glue at the bottom here as well to secure that down into a full pocket. So now that is a top loading pocket here, like so. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle cut. And again, I'm just eyeballing it. I don't have an exact measurement. Thankfully, these are polka dots, so it's kind of good that it is. So it helps me to stay on course. Trying to figure out exactly how deep I want the pocket to be. So let's try... yeah, let's try this. So I'm just following the polka dots and eyeballing it to create this little angle pocket. Okay, so now we have, oh, and my glue didn't adhere down. Let me add a little bit more here. Okay, so now I have this little angle pocket here on the side that I can add something. I'm just using this as a scrap piece to show you how you can add something. You can add a tag here, which will look really cute, and you've added a flip out element here with the angle pocket. Oh, I hope I was in frame for the whole thing. I pulled it down a little bit more. So in case you didn't see, there's a pocket here at the top where you can now add a tag or some type of fold over page there that you want to add, and it just adds another element with the flip out for your pages. The fourth idea of something you could add into your traveler's notebook is a 3-pocket belly band. So I have another sheet of paper here that measures 6 by 5 3/4, 6 by 5 3/4, and I'm going to make just 2 simple score lines. I'm going to score at 1 and I'm going to score at 3. 1 and 3. And yes, so I'm going to go ahead and fold, do an accordion fold. So it'll fold this way, and then it'll fold this way, back and forth. And in the end, you should end up with something that looks like this. So I'm going to find a place in my journal or in my notebook that I want it to be, and I think it's going to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and line that up of where I want it to be. However, I think I want to add a little something underneath here. I don't like, this doesn't contrast enough for me. So one moment, let me find something that I can add here on the background before I glue down this belly band. So I found this little scrap piece here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it on here, just so that I still have enough contrasting and not too much repeating. So let me just add some glue. And I'm just going to add it here on the edge and lining it up all the way to the edge. This is decoration. It's not really part of the design. It's just the decoration here. Okay, so now that I have this all here together, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down as a belly band. So I'm only going to be applying glue at the top and at the bottom. So I'm just trying to line it up to see exactly where I want it to be, and then kind of give myself a little pencil mark so I can make sure it's glued down in the right place. Okay. Okay, so that's the back of my belly band, and so I'm also going to take this first flap, or the middle flap here, and I'm going to glue that down to create a little pocket. Okay, and then this small flap, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Oh, I'm getting stuff on my glue nozzle. Let me get that off. Okay. So I'm doing the exact same thing, just creating a small pocket here, like so. Okay, so now you have 3 pockets. You have this one in the front, you have this one on the right, and then you have this one that goes all the way through because that is your belly band. So now you have a 3-pocket belly band that also can be added as an option inside of your traveler's notebook. Fifth idea of what we can do with our traveler's notebook is we can create an extended journaling pockets. And so I have this sheet here. Again, this is another sheet of some journaling paper that I purchased from Temu a while ago. They have so much on that site that you could use if you so wish. So this sheet actually measures 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. So I'm going to cut it down to 4 1/8. So I'm kind of cutting it in half. Yes, about 4 1/8. So I need to create some type of hinging system for my page. So I am going to just score at about 1/4 inch on either side here. So 1/4 inch I scored on the right side, and then I'm going to do 1/4 inch on the left side. Then because these papers are so thin, I don't really need to score in the middle. I'm just going to fold over that edge to meet the score line here. So you should still have this hinging system exposed, this little 1/4 inch panel, and that's the part you're going to fold in. We're not going to glue it down, we're just folding it in to secure that little crease line. So we have this folded this way, and then this one folded towards the back. So now what we can do is we can create this larger panel into a pocket by gluing down the bottom. So now you should have a pocket there, and then you want to glue down your side. Not crossing over that score line. You want to make sure this score line is kept free, but you're gluing it to, just shy of that score line. So now you should have a hinge here and a top loading pocket. So I'm going to do the same thing with this sheet. I'm going to fold it up until this score line meets the edge of my paper, and just crease it down with my hand. Again, because these papers are so thin, that's why I can go ahead and do that. And so then I'm going to do the same thing by applying glue at the bottom and along the side here, staying away from that score line again, to create my little pocket. So this kind of extends your journaling section, because this is all journaling spots here, there's journaling spots here, and the same on these 2 sides, and then you also have a pocket where you can add even more. So I'm going to bring back in my signature, and I'm going to just look for the coffee dyed paper page, and I'm going to attach it, one on the right edge here, and then I'm going to attach the other on the inside here, and they will overlap and flap against each other. But again, I want to make sure I stay away from that inside spine so that nothing gets blocked from moving. So I can just find that here, and I'm just lining this up onto the edge of my coffee dyed paper. And now this flips out like so. And then I want to do the same thing on this side. Attach that 1/4 inch panel there onto my coffee dyed paper. I'm applying glue there. And I want to make sure it lines up directly with this, but also stays away from that center crease. Okay, so now these two open like this. And what we're also going to do is we're going to cover this part as well, but make it be more journaling also too. So I have another little sheet here that I'm going to use to cover the inside, but I'm only going to glue it down on 3 sides so that it is also a pocket up top. So I'll go ahead and add the glue on 3 sides, and then I will attach it here just to cover up those white spots on the flaps. But I still have this opening up at the top. So now you have an extended journaling system here. Let me just crease everything down. You have this opening where you can journal on both sides, and it'll be a top loading pocket. And then you have this journaling area. You have some down here, and then this is also a pocket. So that is another option as to how you can use even more of this area to create more journaling for your traveler's notebook. I think we're on idea number 6, and so for this idea we could create a moving or floating tag with an angle pocket. So I have 2 scraps here that measure 2.5 by 4, and then I have a smaller little piece that measures about 1 by 2.5. So this one I'm going to go ahead and score down the middle at 1/2 inch and then fold it, and then I'm going to angle or miter these edges here so it ends up looking like so. For these 2 pieces I'm going to just use my tag punch to create the tags. If you're good at doing this by hand, please go ahead and do so. I just am not, so I need to use my tag punch here. And what we're going to do is sandwich these 2 pieces. Just trying to figure, okay, sandwich these 2 tags together, but insert this in the middle, one of the flaps into the middle towards the bottom. So that's how it will look. I'm also going to leave this a space open on the side here so that it can be another pocket. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and secure this flap onto the back side of the tag just by adding some glue here underneath. Secure that down. The next thing I'm going to do is apply glue on 2 sides, like an L, so that I can attach the top tag on top. I'll still create space for that pocket. So now you have your 2 tags here sandwiched against each other, and then you still have an opening here on the side to add even more things. So I'm going to bring back in my signature and find the place where I want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and add it here, and I'm just going to add this by gluing that the back of that hinge onto the edge of the paper like so. So I'll just apply glue on this hinge here and line it up to the edge of my paper. Make sure everything's even. And now you have a moving or a floating tag, and you also have this little opening here that you can add even more. And you can secure this down up top as well. That'll make it even more of a pocket for you. But there's your little floating. And so now we're going to add an angle pocket here, and that will cover up this little hinge here. So let me get a scrap piece of paper so we can add an angle pocket there. I have this little scrap piece of paper that measures 4 1/4 by 3 1/2, and I'm just going to angle cut it. Just lining it up into my cutting board, just trying to gauge it to see exactly how I want the angle cut to go. Not really measuring anything, I'm just trying to figure out how I want it to look. So I think that'll work. Let's see. So if I line this up, yes, that's perfect. So I do need to angle, I'm sorry, I do need to round the corner here on this little corner. And so I can line this up with the edge of my paper, and then that becomes a angle pocket underneath my floating tag. Perfect. So let me just add the glue on 2 sides. And so now I have this opening here, and then, oops, let me see. I think I went over too far. Let's see here. Okay, that's better. So again, I have my opening for my angle pocket there, and then I also have the opening with the tags here, and then the tag also floats or moves back and forth on my page. I think that looks great. Okay. So we've gone through 6 different ways in which you could add to your traveler's notebook, some interactive elements, some exciting things that you could do. There's so much more that can be done. It just depends on how thick you want your signature to be, how much you want to add into it. There's much more that you can do. So we just went over a few things, but I still hope that you found that a little bit inspirational. So I do want to show you how I do my stitching for the signature. You don't have to do the stitching. You can insert it into the elastic as it is, and then allow all the pages to be interchangeable. They can be removed and added, but I do like to sew my signatures together. And if the entire signature wants to be removed, it can be done, but I like to sew it all together. So before I do that, I just want to make sure all my pages are lined up. I want to make sure everything is the right side up and nothing is upside down or in the wrong place. Everything is where I want it to be. So once I do that, then I can attach some clips to try to keep it together in the same place. And we're just going to do a simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And I'm not even going to do a template for this one because it's just, I just eyeball it because it's so simple, and it doesn't have to have uniformity. It just want to make sure that you have the 3 holes to do the stitching. So I use my picker, but you can also use an owl, whichever one you're comfortable with. So I'm just going to try to eyeball my center, which looks like it's about here, and I'm just going to hold the papers in place and to create my little hole here. It requires some effort and some pressure, but there's my first hole. Then I'm going to just want to make sure my papers don't move. Okay, stay where they need to be. Okay, then I'm going to add, it looks like my papers moved a little bit, so I'm just trying to make sure. I may need to get better clips so that everything doesn't move. One moment. Okay, I changed out those clips and used these large paper clips. They seem to be more effective in keeping everything together. So all we did was we did our first hole here, and so now I'm just going to go up I go up about an inch or maybe an inch and a quarter. And I'm going to go ahead and make the next hole. Again, you can create a template for this so that you can be more exact, but you can also choose to eyeball it like I'm doing. Okay, so now I have my 3 holes here. Now, the other thing you want to be mindful of is if some of your pages are shorter than others, please be mindful of that when you're creating the hole. You don't want any pages to be left out or any pages to not have been secured by your thread because they were shorter than the rest. I kept mine's pretty much the same height, so I didn't really have to worry about that challenge there. So now I have my needle and my thread, and I'm just going to go ahead and do my stitching. So the first stitch, I'm going to go in from the inside out with the middle, and I'm going to hang on to one of my tails here so that I don't lose it. And then you can either choose to go from the bottom or you can go to the top. I'm going to go at the bottom hole from the back and come in. And then I'm going to choose to go to the top. And then I'm going to go right back into the middle. And that's pretty much the stitching. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a knot with this. I'm tightening it up, and I try to do my knotting so that this string that I've already fed through is in the middle, and I'm tying a knot to secure it down. And you can choose to leave this part as long or as short as you want. If you like to add, you know, beads, or if you like to add more decoration, then please feel free to do that. And I actually do knotting twice. So that was my first knot, and now I'm going to do my second knot. Like so. So now all my pages are secure. I can remove this, and now I have my signature all sewed down. And so let me just quickly go through the pages that we did together. This signature at least. So we had this one, and we have this page, this one. We have our doily, which was one of the items that we used to add more excitement to our page. We have our vellum, and we made that into a pocket. I can actually glue this side part down. I hadn't done that, so let me go ahead and glue that down. So now we have our vellum pocket. We had our 3 pocket belly band here. This was our the other side of our vellum pocket. I'll secure that down. So that's space there to add something. We had our extended journaling area. These flaps are all journaling areas here, and then we still have pockets here. We have pockets on all of that. And then this is the other side of our doily. We had our moving tag, or our floating tag, with an angle pocket. And then that also has a tuck spot there. And then we had our angle fold over flip out page here. We have an angle pocket there as well. So I think that was all 6 that we did together. But yes, so that is our signature put together. So now if we bring back in our base, then we can go ahead and add it inside. And there's our first signature all complete. And so now we just will do the second one, and we just have to do our decorating, and then we will have completed our traveler's notebook with all our different elements inside. So I hope this gave you some inspiration of what you can do with your traveler's notebook. I will show you all the final product once I get all the decorating done, and I will show you the other traveler's notebooks that I've done or that I am still working on as well. But I wanted to come back and at least give you some ideas of what you can do with yours, and how you can add more interactive elements. There's many more things that you can do, as I mentioned, but at least this gives you a little bit of a head start and some inspiration as to what you may want to do with your own traveler's notebook. Thank you all again for joining me on my channel today. I am so happy and excited, and just excited is the best word I can think of about all of your comments and your feedback. It is so encouraging to me, and I so thank you all for taking the time to like, comment on my videos. And for those of you who have not subscribed, I sincerely hope you will subscribe to my channel so that you can join me for even more exciting projects that we can do together. So until then, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to crafting with you very soon in the near future. Take care. Bye.